Okay, so now we're on to the salad portion of our meal, and I'm going to show you how to make a nice crisp salad that can last you a few days. Now, usually when you make a salad, the lettuce is wilted, but the best thing that I suggest is in the beginning when you first start your meal, go ahead and put your salad in a strainer. I mean, it's going to allow all of the water to get off of the salad, and it's going to allow for you to be able to have one of those type of salads that lasts a few days where you don't have a whole bunch of water left over. And also, if you find that there's still a lot of water on your leaves, go ahead and grab a paper towel and just, you know, get it off as best as you can. These are pretty dry though, because the whole time that we've been cooking, you know, the noodles and we made our pesto and everything else, these have been draining. So it's giving it a time to, you know, get nice and dry. So these are romaine lettuce, which happens to be my favorite. I'm just going to slice these up. Now try not to get the ending part in there because I find it to be a little bitter. So let's throw this right on in here. Now, as you look around and you see the ingredients I have here, I have some nice big cherry tomatoes. I have some carrots, green onions, black olives, green olives, red cabbage, and some mushrooms that I'm going to add to my salad. So this is going to be a super mixed salad with a whole bunch of nice good things in it. Now, if you're finding that your lettuce is still a little wet, don't be afraid to take a paper towel and put it at the bottom of your bowl so that when it sits overnight, whatever excess water from the lettuce and also the tomatoes comes down, it'll catch onto the paper towel, and that'll also keep your lettuce from being, you know, really wet. Strain these off. They're pretty dry, so they've been sitting for probably about 15 minutes. And it's also the way that you position them in the strainer that allows, you know, the water to drip down the leaf. As you see, the cupped end is down in here instead of being up this way. So that allows it to all drop down real nicely. And the water doesn't stay on. Get any parts off that you don't like, you might not want to eat. With these nice green pieces in here, which have a lot of good nutrition in them. That is a lot of lettuce right there. This meal probably feed up to maybe 8 people. Nice portions, sizes. And this is the type of meal that you can cook and be confident enough to know that you'll have enough for the next day, for lunch, and, you know, so on and so forth. Also, don't be afraid to freeze, you know, the pesto sauce. If you find that you make a lot of it and you might want to have it for days later, go ahead and freeze it. And if at any point you felt like the sauce needed to be thicker, throw in as much basil and as much Italian parsley as you want to put in there, and it makes the sauce really thick and it makes a lot of it. So I'm just going to get rid of this. And now I'm just going to slice up some of this. Actually, we'll leave it like that and just slice it on down. This is going to make a really beautiful, flavorful salad. I'm actually going to rinse these off though. I'm going to grab a paper towel and just go over these a little bit. Get all that excess water off of them. Just throw it right on in to my salad. Now, these are nice big pieces, so I think I'm going to cut them in half one more time. Before I throw it in. Get it all mixed in there. This is a really big salad, as you can see. Okay, so next, and this can be in whatever order you feel comfortable with, some mushrooms. And as with the pasta, I'm going to add these on last because I have someone who does not care for mushrooms and I don't want to add this in. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but so far this meal hasn't had any wheat, it hasn't had any gluten, and it hasn't had any peanuts. Now, we did add pine nuts. So if you have any allergies to any of those things, this is one of those meals where you can eat and feel confident that you don't have to worry about any of your allergies. And if you wanted to leave the nuts out of the equation in the pasta, that's perfectly fine. Now, add my tomatoes. Now, tomatoes are also something that you might want to cut up in the beginning. Because if you do so, you'll allow whatever, little waters, juices that comes out of the tomatoes to just go ahead and seep out. But the reason why I like cherry tomatoes is because, other than having like a Roman tomato, they're not going to be as juicy in terms of leaking. When you bite into them, they're going to have a lot of juice in them. But they're not going to leak out the way that, the other ones usually do. I'm going to add my carrots in here too. I like to put all my big stuff at the bottom, well, at the top of the salad. And then add in my tomatoes. Just look at how the salad is coming along already. It looks so good and has so many beautiful colors. Very nutritional salad here. And then I'm just going to grab me some black olives. Now it's up to you to add all of this stuff. I like a lot of different components in my food. So however much of this you want in there, it is up to you. This is the type of meal that I would suggest, a balsamic vinegar dressing. Something in the future we can make together. But just a little, balsamic vinegar, a little olive oil, salt and pepper, and perhaps some lemon, and just whisk it all together and you got you a nice salad dressing. That will go really good with the pesto. I think that's enough. Be careful with these little things. They're really small and you do not want to cut yourself. Even though I know it's a casualty of war with cooking, you're always going to cut yourself. It's just a way of life. In the kitchen, burns and cuts. As good chefs have a lot of them. I kind of line them up and cut 3 at a time, but if you can't cut that good, then don't. And I'm not a master cutter, but I can do that to some degree. Now, I got a little straggler